So I went 4-0 at locals last night, completely undefeated, didn't lose a single game. And I asked people in the community tab if you want to see this deck profile. The reason why I asked this is I have never played tier 1 at locals before, ever. Like, this is the first time in my whole life I'm playing a meta deck at locals, and I just wanted to kind of see people's opinions on it. And you asked, so I delivered. Well, let's do it. So we are back here. Tifa is gonna be our mascot this time, and this is actually the first time I've actually taken a tier 1 deck to locals. I just wanted to try it out, and surprisingly enough, I actually really enjoy how this deck plays. I enjoy the artwork, especially for Ecclesia. She's super waifu. So I'm gonna show you guys my adaptation of Dragma Shadal Invoked, or Dogmatika in English, whatever. I just wanted to show you guys this deck list, just in case anybody's playing Dragmas and they wanted some ideas with it. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Akemi. I pretty much do every single kind of Yu-Gi-Oh content under the blue, and bottom line is I want to help you become a better Yu-Gi-Oh player. So if you like that, you want to support the cause, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Alright, let's get right into it. We have 3. I started the Invoker. Also, I fixed the lighting so it's not weird anymore with the colors. This is white lighting, as the commenter suggested. Obviously, you're playing Invoked, you have to play the triple Alistar. The package is 3 Alistar, 3 Meltdown. And this guy basically is a 1-card combo playmaker. If they don't impermit, then you're pretty much set for pretty much the whole game, because everything keeps recurring with Invocation. As you guys know, my hand traps, I'm playing 2 Ash Blossom, 1 DD Crow, because I actually didn't have a second one by the time. So I thought, you know what, why not just play 1? And I was playing 3 Ghost Ogres, because Numeron's running around. You have to be super careful with Ghost Ogre. I mean, rather, with Numerons. I am super tired. Super careful with them, because Network and Zexo can completely shut you down. And especially if they're playing like an OTK variant where they can pop off on the next turn with their combo deck. If they're playing Zexo, then you kind of just lose there. So playing 3 Ghost Ogre and then 3 Ecclesia, the main Dragma girl. She is going to get you pretty much everything you need for the Dragma cards. If you want Maximus, you get Maximus. If you want Fleur-Dis, you get Fleur-Dis. Usually, you summon this during the end phase with the Titaniclad. Special summon this and get Fleur-Dis. So next turn you have like an effect Veller. So it really depends. Usually, you would get Maximus if you don't have it yet, so you can then send Titaniclad. It's completely up to you, but it's very flexible. Those 3 work very well in conjunction with one another. So that obviously is why I played 3. And I'm playing 2 Fleur-Dis. People want to play 3 of this, and I can kind of see why, but I only play 2 is A, so you can search it with Ecclesia, Nadir, and also Titaniclad. But secondly is the effect filler effect only goes off if you have another Dogmatika or Dragma card on the field. So I can't always guarantee it. I know it is a 2500 beater, but that is the main reason why I only play 2. I don't have to play 3. 2 Maximus. This is the optimal number for this card in my opinion. I can't see myself playing 1 because you do want to send your resources to the graveyard, and sometimes they affect Velar or imperm the first one. So if it doesn't work out, then you got a second one to work off with. So basically, this is the basic Dragma package. The only thing that usually changes from this is Fleur-Dis. Sometimes people play 3 of those instead. And then last but not least, 2 Nibiru. That's pretty much all the monsters I play in the main deck. I'm deeply terrified with combo, and that hence is why I have these many hand traps. If I would change one thing, I would just flip one of these Ghost Ogres, turn into a DD Crow. Completely up to you, or you can do stuff with the side to make it work. But that is it for the monsters. And now on to the spells. So for the spells, I am playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. Also, if you like this video so far, make sure to drop a like. I really do appreciate it a lot. 3 Call by the Graves, you do kind of have to worry about hand traps, but at the same time, I really like how reactive this card is. You can, if they have a graveyard card that you're worried about, let's say they play Invocation and they're the only one that has Alistar, you can chain Call by the Grave, get rid of the Alistar, and the Invocation just fizzles because they can't use Invocation's effect, which is super nice. And also, it works super well in the late game if they summon like a monster in the field that is potentially a problem. You can just Call by the Grave it if they have another copy of that monster in the graveyard, so which is nice. I'm main decking 3 droplets. So a lot of builds I see, they either main deck 3 droplets or 3 of the other spell card triple tactical talents. I like droplet a lot more just because A, it breaks the Numeron package, B, it's not reactive, and C, it also cuts the monsters your opponent controls in half. So I actually had a time where one of the games and one of my matches was they had to reborn my Nibiru because they had no other play to run over my Makaba, and I didn't have a spell in my hand. So on attack declaration, at the beginning of damage step, I just activate Droplet, cut his attack in half, and he had only 500 life points, so I won that way. So Droplet did come in handy. I played against one guy that had True King of all Calamities, and standby phase, he activated True King, and I just Dropleted, and then I just went off with my day. It's really, really good too, in the sense that you could play, let's say, Call by the Grave, right? So like you summon a monster, they ash it, you can play Call by the Grave, and then they already have another problematic monster on the field. You can droplet it in the same chain and send that Call by the Grave you activated to the graveyard. Because even though the Call by the Grave is marked to be sent to the graveyard, it doesn't mean you can't send it off of cost, which is super, super nice. So Droplet in hindsight is very free. It just really depends on how you use it. Because it's a quick play, that's how free it is. With 3 tactical talents, you can only do it during your turn, but Droplet has the flexibility. So that's why I completely opt playing Droplet over 3 tactical talents if you're thinking of playing the 3T engine. Playing 2 Invocation. This is the main Invoke card in your deck. So you just play 2 Invocations. You really don't need to play 3. I think, in my opinion, 3 is bricky because if you don't have Alistar all the time. So 2 is the ideal number. There are times where I Alistar and they imperm the Alistar and I still had a second Invocation in hand or the other Invocation, so it's just super free. So 2 is the right number. I would not play 3. 3 Meltdown to get your Alistars. That's self-explanatory. 3 Nadir's Servant. This is self-explanatory too. This lets you send your Titanic Class to the graveyard or start off your Shaddoll combo by sending off your Apollocone to the graveyard. I'll be showing a combo a little bit at the end of this video so you guys can see the basic bread and butter combo. But it's just free. That's the E-call of the deck. And then Pot of Desires. Great card. I would not run Desires at 3 just because I kind of don't really want to see it. When I was building this deck, I realized there's no real draw engine into the deck, and I kind of didn't want to play Upstart because at the same time, even though this deck is control, I do want to kill my opponent ASAP, and Desires, giving you a second card does let me destroy my opponent really fast. There was only one time where I Desires and 2 of my Invocations were shat off of it, and you can't really do anything about it, so if it happens, it happens. But usually you want to finish your combo, then you play the Desire so you get maximum value and you can draw into your trap cards or whatever. Now on to the trap cards. So I'm playing 2 Dogmatika Punishment. Some people opt to play this at 1 or 2. I like this at 2. I know this has a really strong drawback where until the end of your next turn you can't use the extra deck. But if you really think about how this deck works, this deck works more off of your sending cards from your extra deck to the graveyard rather than using cards in the extra deck, because the only cards you're summoning off your extra deck are Wunda and any of the Invocation cards. And sometimes, like, usually when you grab this card off of Ecclesia, you already have some kind of recursion play or you already have a Makaba on the field. So locking yourself off isn't too bad of a punishment, no pun intended, but it also lets you pitch like Natis to get extra attack or Titanic Clad depending on what you want. So it's a very flexible card. It just sends a card from the field to the graveyard, which is super nice. Well, it destroys it rather. So it's super nice. I like playing at 2 because I do like to see it, even though you can't search it. And then I am playing Triple Impermanence. This card will win you a lot of games, arguably the best hand trap in the format. No contest. It's good reactively first or second, doesn't matter, it's just good. And then last but not least, 1 Shaddoll Schism to summon your Shaddoll cards. Or rather, you're just Wunda. Sometimes I've had to go into Construct. It really just depends on the situation. You just have to gauge the situation. You can't just like be like herp derp autopilot. You have to think about the situation you're in. Think about how many cards are in your opponent's hand and try to play accordingly. And always try to adapt the situation, very important. Now on to the extra deck. I am playing 1 Summon Great Almirage, 1 Security Garner. This is basically the free Makaba play. Basically, you summon Alistar and go into Almirage and go into Garna, and it's just free. Super free. 1 Cyber Dragon Nova. Why Akemi? Why are you playing this? Why are you playing this garbage card? So The reason why you play this card is for the mirror. So I did expect the mirror at the locals, and it did happen. If they add Resolve Maximus on you and you needed an answer to it, usually your answer would be like, oh, I'll send my own Antis and Titanic Lad. But if they Maximus you and you send Nova off of it, you get a Macabre special summon for free. So now you have a negate, onboard negate for free, and a body too. And if you have Alistar in hand, it becomes 3,500. So it's super nice. It's just really good in the mirror. Luckily, even though I played against the mirror, I never let him resolve Maximus because I didn't want him to send his stuff. 2 Natissus because this card, you just pitch it and you destroy a card. I could actually low-key see this card being limited just because of this deck. The fact that I can just pop a lot of floodgates, like there can be only one summon limit. I just pop those with Natis. Often using the Dear Servant is just super dumb, and that's why I like it a lot. Not because it's dumb, but I do like the artwork and the playstyle of this deck. 1 Apakalone, the Shaddoll card. This basically sends your searches for your Rook or your Schism, and then you pitch one. You can choose to pitch that Rook and then summon Maximus and then send the Construct afterwards to get that Rook back. It's completely up to you how you play it. Sometimes you just search the Rook and then you send something else, and then you can play Winda that way. But I feel like you get maximum value when you do full combo, and I'll be showing that shortly. And the Winda, this card's probably gonna get hit just because of how versatile it is in this deck. The new trap card makes it really good. 1 Goaties, just in case for the mirror as well. And this card lets you pop a card on summon. And also, if you all didn't know this, while it's on the field, if your opponent special summons a card, you can just immediately pop it too. It's really strong. So if you're going the defensive route, let's say like you're going Kaliga and Agodes, and Agodes is the only effect you want to resolve for that turn because Kaliga locks you. You can just wait till the special summons something and use Agodes and pop it. And on that note, 1 Kaliga as well. This does come up. Some people play Kaliga, some people play different cards in conjunction with these two. Like instead of these cards, they play Boros Sword just in case they want to attack for game, Boro Low just in case there's problematic cards that can't be targeted. It's super up to player preference what you want to do with these two. I feel like these two are the negotiable cards in the deck, and also with Nova too if you're not worried about the mirror. 2 Macabas. This does just come up. In the mirror, it's really good because you can also banish the Alistar too. It's something to think about. 1 Purgatrio to attack everything for game. I summoned this a couple times. It didn't come up too often. More often than not, I just want to summon Makaba and just play the safe game where I poke and I have a monster spell and trap in my hand, so I have like a free negate, which is super nice. So Purgatrio sometimes or seldom comes up, but when it comes up, it works. And Titanic Lad, you play 2 of these because you want to get your Ecclesia, you want to get your Fleur. Basically, those are the only 2 you really get, Ecclesia or Fleur. You either get Ecclesia, special summon it, get Fleur, and if you don't have any more Ecclesias, then you just get Fleur for free. I seldom get Maximus with this card. Now on to the sideboard. That's the spice, guys. The sideboard is the spice. I'm telling you guys right now. The sideboard consists of triple Chalice. Why? Because Numeron is so hard to deal with. So I just use Chalice to deal with Numeron. It's just an easy way out. And it's a good card. Really good card. The fact that it's a quick play and you don't have to have nothing like Impermanence. Impermanence, you can only activate it if you have nothing on the field. But you can just normal summon your monster. If your opponent doesn't do Zexo during standby, then you can normal summon your monster, your Alistar. Then they change Zexo, so you do get the Imperm. You do get the Invocation. But you can still play Chalice to get over their card, and you keep the Invocation, and you baited them. You baited them by detaching one, so Chalice is good. Play Chalice, guys. 3 Lightning Storm. This card is pretty much primarily for the Altergeist matchup because any other grindy decks just has a hard time, and it's just not gonna be a pretty bad time. It didn't quite come up because I didn't draw into it, but it was fine. 3 Mystic Mine. I probably will take this out, but this deck has problems with breaking board as well, because sometimes you can't always rely on drawing into your hand traps, and even if you do draw into some hand traps, sometimes players can play right through them. Sometimes they have call by, sometimes they have a way to out the Nibiru. You have to kind of be careful, and Mystic Mine is kind of the answer to large boards. I actually didn't have to side this in at all, of this tournament because nobody was playing pure combo. I played against actually all control, so I didn't quite have to put in Mystic Mine at any point, but it will come up. Super Poly. Why am I playing Super Poly? It's for the mirror. It's for the mirror. If they have the window lock, you can just Super Poly the card, summon whatever monster you want, go off with your day. You Super Poly their window and their Makaba, and you make yourself a nice clean construct and you go off with your plays. So that's why I play Super Poly. And last but not least, since this deck is going first build, I am playing triple evenly matched just in case it goes second. So basically these cards you tend to side in. This specifically for Numeron or any deck that has problematic cards. For example, like Mega Cloth could be a problematic card, so Chalice works off with it. Although I have no idea how you're gonna get over 4400 easily. But yeah, there's some food for thought, guys. Now we're going on to the combos. So here is your first bread and butter play. I'm going to show you guys two of the main combos just because this video is running a bit long, but these are basically some of the best combos in my opinion in the game when it comes to a control deck of this sort. So you're going to normal summon Alistar and use its effect. You're going to grab Invocation. Now you're going to link off your Alistar, you're going to summon off Almirage because you need names in the graveyard in order for stuff to happen. You can also do the same thing if you had Meltdown, you grab Alistar. Same idea, same idea. So you're going to link off the Almirage and you're going to go into Secure Garden. Now, because you have a light monster, you can work off with Invocation. So now you're going to use your Invocation, you're going to banish both Alistar and Secure Garden, and you're going to go into your Makaba. Put it in the corner somewhere so you don't get Mech Knighted, because you never know if your opponent's playing some sort of Mech Knight deck. Put it in the corner to make it safe. Don't put it here, right? Don't put it in this column. So now, Invocation is going to go to the graveyard. You use your Invocation, you're going to grab it, the Alistar back. And the Invocation is going to go back into the deck. You just put it on the bottom, whatever. Just for combo sake. You're going to special summon Ecclesia. Now you're going to be locked out of your extra deck. Just a heads up. Summon it in defense so you don't get hit by Lightning Storm, because that does hurt. With your Ecclesia, you're going to now search for Maximus. And now with the Almirage in your graveyard, you can banish the Almirage to special summon the Maximus. Put this big booty in defense because he's thick. You're going to use Maximus. You're going to send 2 cards from your extra to the graveyard. For this combo purpose, we're going to assume your opponent doesn't have anything, so you're not going to put in the Tis back. So you're going to send Titanic Clad and Apacalone. I don't even know how to pronounce this card, but Apacalone, I'm going to say it. And use Apacalone, you're going to search for your Schism. And you can either pitch the Alistar, so it's going to be live because you have the dark. But so let's say like for this case, we're going to pitch the Alistar because this is just a 2-card combo. So this is going to be assuming that you have other cards in hand to work with, okay? For a Makaba negate. Now you're going to set your Schism. At the end phase, Titaniclad is going to activate. And you're going to get yourself Fleur. And with Fleur on your opponent's turn, you can activate this from your hand because you have Makaba on the field. You can special summon it and just straight up negate one of your opponent's monsters, which is super, super nice. And not only that, but let's say they special summon a monster, right? Let's say like they activate Invocation, okay? You can activate Schism and chain that to that, and you can banish your Apacalone and your Titaniclad in response to that special summon, and then summon El Shaddai Window. And now, your opponent cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. So that's a super, super clean 2-card combo. This is combo number 2. This is the basic bread and butter. This is, in my opinion, a better combo than the first one because you can extend harder with Nadir Servant. So you're going to normal summon Alistar and grab the Invocation like you did before. Now, link off, go into Almirage, and again, go into Secure Gardener. Now you have a light, so you can now use Invocation. You banish your Almirage, rather your Alistar and your Garda to summon yourself Makaba. Make sure you put it on the sides just in case you're playing Mech Knights. Use Invocation, put that back into the deck, and then put Alistar back into your hand. Now you can play Nadir Servant, and that lets you send 1 for cost. So I'm going to send Apacalone for cost. And then you're going to add Ecclesia to your hand. And on resolution, Apacalone is going to activate and you get to add yourself Shaddai Schism. Now you're going to send that Schism that you just added to the graveyard as well. Now you're going to special summon Ecclesia. And with Ecclesia, you're going to get yourself a copy of Maximus. You're going to banish your Almirage. And special summon Maximus and use Maximus to get rid of Construct and Titaniclad. Now with Construct, you're going to get yourself Schism back. from your graveyard to your hand. Now you can use Schism. You can set it somewhere, put it over here in separate columns, and then at the end phase, Titaniclad is going to activate, and you're going to grab yourself your Fleur Disc. Now you have the Effect Veiler on your opponent's turn, and you still have the Alistar in hand to negate. So this is an extremely good combo. You did all this, you still ended with 2 cards in your hand. So you ended up with the exact same number of cards in your hand as when the combo started. Your opponent turn starts, they special summon something, then you activate Schism, you banish your Titaniclad, and banish either your Construct or Apocalypse. Completely up to you. I tend to banish the Apocalypse because light monsters are slightly harder to come by. But in this case, because we have these Dragma cards, I'm going to assume they're not going to get banished. So you're just going to banish your Construct and summon yourself El Shaddai Window. And now your opponent can't special summon twice or another time because that was their first special summon. And you also have a Monster Negate, or it could be any more negates if you had more cards in conjunction with these cards in your hand, and also Fleur Disc with the monster. And also, if your opponent doesn't kill this, you can pop their stuff next to him with Natis and whatnot. And that's why this deck is super versatile. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this kind of content, make sure to drop a like down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to join the cause and helping me help you become a better player. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.
The world ends now.